So the film Morbius is an okay watch. Now, I do think there was a few plot holes and character development, but before I move on to that, let's talk about the positives of this film. So there were a few. First being that I liked that even though it was somewhat overused, the CGI was nice to look at. I think that it was very eye-catching for the majority of the time. I also like the fact this film, it upped on the violence. We actually get to see blood, and I think it was quite cool. Even though it wasn't as dark as I was hoping it to be, it was nice, but I do hope that it does go darker for other films, as if this is the darkest it will go for vampire characters, it does make me wonder / worry about the new Blade film they're working on. Another thing I liked about this film is the chemistry between Michael Morbius and his doctor friend Martine Bancroft. But I feel like they didn't need to make it romantic. They could have implied upon it, but I feel like adding a level to romance, I don't know, personally I just didn't think it was necessary, but that's just me. But now let's go on to what I didn't like about this film, and there is quite a lot. First of all, the plot is quite generic and at times predictable. For example, the scene where we see Morbius become the vampire, and it was almost predictable as we see the people we knew were going to get murdered. They made him look and come off as quite arsehole type, in some weird way of justifying him killing these people in cold blood. A narrative that continues throughout this film. Another thing that I did find a bit odd about this film is finding it funny that Morbius really struggled to control his bloodlust and somewhat feel like he's dying from it, whilst his brother Lucian seems fine, he's perfect, even though he has less of a body count than Morbius than what we see in the film, when we as an audience realise that he has also taken the cure. It's also kind of funny to me that as soon as you take this cure, you've instantly got to show off your amazing body, at least in a 2-minute montage, especially with Milo Lucian putting on a t-shirt and flashing it about. I'm just like, either the writers wrote this into the script or the actors has insisted it be in the film and made it something in their contract. In this film, there's no real justification, reasoning, or explanation as to why Milo, as soon as he gets the cure, becomes a complete psychopath. He just goes on this random killing spree, and in a way the writing somewhat makes it somewhat justified. He does kill one person that was completely unnecessary, and it made us as an audience go, oh, he's a piece of shit. But all the other murders, aside from her, the nurse he killed, they tried to add reasoning behind it, like this particular character being a dickhead to him, so he's allowed to murder him. This character said something negative about himself or Morbius, dead. It's like, no, the justifications were pointless and really ridiculous. And when the character himself explained why he's doing it, oh, they should feel our pain, that just felt so piss poor. As in this film, they haven't shown that they were treated so badly. Apart from one instance, the one reason as why he believes that they should all feel his pain is when he was a child, he got bullied, he attacked one of the bullies, and once the fight was broken up by their father figure, he continues to wail on this kid, and that's the reason why he become this massive psychopath. And maybe the reason why they should feel his pain is just kind of real piss poor writing, from my personal opinion. My last thing that I do not like about this film is the humour. The humour in this film is really fucking shit. It actually adds cringiness to scenes that could have went perfectly fine without humour, but no, as soon as humour was added to it, it just ruined the scene. One of the big things that everyone's talking about is the post-credit scene, which I agree doesn't really make any sense. If you've seen the Spider-Man film, Doctor Strange does the spell and people go into the MC universe. We don't hear anything of characters being transformed from that Marvel Cinematic Universe into other universes. We haven't heard of that. But I'm going to let that slide. What the weirdest and stupidest and bad writing that I saw from this film is the fact that when Adrian Toomes gets released from prison, as he doesn't belong there, but for some reason he finds Morbius. Morbius and him meet up. He explains that Spider-Man's behind this and they should team together. And Morbius who we now know doesn't know anything about Spider-Man, doesn't know who the fuck Adrian Toomes is, still for some reason agrees to fucking team up. It makes no fucking sense. Ugh. Yeah, last thing. With the post-credit scene being what it is, I personally think, seeing this as a vampire film, they really should have talked about Blade. They should have used Blade, because it would have made sense with Morbius being a vampire and Blade with being a vampire hunter. But I'm assuming because he's not Sony property, he's MCU property, they want to save him. Fair enough, I'll leave it be. But overall, this film is it's not great. I wouldn't rewatch it for myself, but if someone were to ask me if they wanted to watch it with me, I wouldn't turn it down. I would watch it with others rather than by myself. Rating wise, I'd say it's a 6 out of 10, personally. On to recommendations, I think there are better Marvel films that involve vampires. The best one of all is Blade. I think Blade 1 and 2 are fucking amazing. Blade 3 isn't as good for a lot of reasons, but I think that it has replay value, not only for the violence and the action scenes, but for the humour that a lot of characters bring, but especially Ryan Reynolds. He really does bring humour to that film. And Jared Leto, yes, he isn't the greatest actor. If you've ever seen him in Joker, from Suicide Squad, and in this, but he has done 2 roles which I think do need to be acknowledged. The first one was his role in American Psycho, as he played Paul Allen. His role was small, but it was interesting. And his best role is in Dallas Buyers Club. He plays a gay man with AIDS who likes to dress up as a woman. And he absolutely did an amazing job as that character. And at the time, I didn't know it was him. So yeah, he really put in the effort on that role. Respect to all the cast on that, but especially him. So yeah, those are my recommendations. Hope you enjoy.